Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're giving everyone just another moment to join, but we'll get started just one more moment. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Allison Weiss. I'm the Associate Director of Corporate and Executive Education at the Brown School of Professional Studies. Here at the Brown School of Professional Studies, our mission is to give you the skills, the tools, and the network that you need to change the way the world works for good. And we do that by offering a series of in-demand skills that are taught through a portfolio of programs that range from master classes to certificate programs to short courses to master classes like what you have attended today. And we are so excited that you have chosen to join us for this session on how to lead through change and how to lead when the sky is falling. And right before you joined us, we were talking about how this feels like the perfect time to talk about this, because during the holiday season, it can often feel like the sky is falling. It can be an incredibly stressful time of year as we aim to meet end of year goals while juggling a more demanding than usual personal life. And so we're so glad you have chosen to come and to learn and expand your skill set around how you can lead in a way that is more sustainable for both yourself and your team. One of the stats that always stands out to me that I have learned from our partner ACT, who partners with us on this program, is that 70% of the US workforce is disengaged. And that is a stat that has remained true for several years and can only go up during times of stress. And so this is the perfect time to be learning a skill set that is going to help increase the engagement of those around you and make work feel more sustainable. So today we have two incredible faculty members who have joined us today. Both of these faculty members teach in our Leader as Coach program. And there is an opportunity for you to continue to learn more from them if you would like at the end. So at the end, I'll pop back on and share a little bit of information about the incredible program that they both teach in so that you can learn more about how to continue to build this skill set. And I think you'll get a lot of value out of today as well. My last little housekeeping note before I introduce our incredible speakers is to please submit your questions throughout. You don't have to wait until the end. So if you have a question at any point about how to lead when the sky is falling, lead through change, or if you have questions about the program, which I'll talk about at the end, then please click on your bottom bar of Zoom, click on the Q&A button and type in and submit your question there. So with that, I'm really excited to introduce and hand things over to our two incredible faculty members. Judy Knabb is the Director of Talent Development at Brown University, and she's a facilitator in Leader as Coach. Stephanie Lovinger is a certified coach and one of our incredible ACT faculty members who teaches in all of our coaching programs. So with that, I'll turn things over to you. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you, Allison. Well, it's a pleasure to be with everyone today and with you, of course, Stephanie.
Yes.
And we thought we'd start the webinar with a question in chat. And given that we're talking about change, we wanted to know what word or phrase comes to mind when you think about change in the workplace. And so if you could just take a moment to add your comments, the word or phrase to chat, we'd love to hear and see what you have.
So funny. I thought if I were typing a response right now, I'd put in, oh no, not again.
Well, we've got someone who's written exhaustion. So we've got exhaustion there. Yeah. Oh no, not again. Here we go again. Oh, how about wasn't the pandemic enough? You know, we've got, yeah.
Another one I hear a lot is, oh, that change that came from the top didn't work last time, and now they're trying another thing.
Yeah, one of our, thank you so much. Someone wrote frustration, scared, lack of confidence in my abilities. Did I do something wrong? Oh, we hear you. Change is frightening. Yeah.
Notice some of the emotional words that are coming up.
Yeah. What does that make you think about, Stephanie, when you saying that, you know, the emotional words?
Yes, well, it makes me think a little bit of some of the neuroscience research that tells us that human beings and human brains like to operate within a comfort level of things we know. That takes less energy, it's easier, there's less uncertainty. And so what happens to human brain when we hear there's going to be a change is often, not always, but often, uh, some chemicals get triggered and so forth that start to create some of that feeling of being scared or frightened or uneasy, which creates stress.
Yeah, and there are a lot of those feelings, right? Because when I think about change, it's not so much the change, but it's that psychological aspect of it that you're referring to.
Yeah.
And yes, there's all that uncertainty and frightened and scared and that, but then there's also excitement.
Mhm.
There can be excitement, there can be anticipation. So I think emotions can run the whole gamut.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you can bet that when the change is announced or we're forced into some change, we're going to have some kind of an emotional response to it.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
as leaders, then it's really means that we've got to do certain things to help,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of the things that I think of have to do with really the communication and the
Mhm.
people themselves, right? And really, really focusing in on that. What's
Yeah.
been your experience?
Yeah. Same. I think one of the worst things that can happen during a time of change is people feel like they have no one to talk to about it.
Mm.
Or uh I mean, I've had my own personal experiences during times of change where all of my self-doubts came up too. Am I going to be able to handle this? What if I'm not clear? What isn't clear? And so, like you were saying, Judy, I think good leaders are have skills to make themselves available to support people through this, whether it's the people that report to them or their peers or even people above them on the structure of the
And
organization. Mhm.
I agree with you, Stephanie, and that so helps for change to be successful.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when leaders have the vision and they're already there, right? They've crossed sort of like marathon runners and they've already crossed the finish line. But hey, you know what? There are still, maybe they're more the elite runners, right? That are leaders. Whereas we have the folks who are more the general pack or even maybe walkers who are just coming up to the starting line while the leaders are already there. So the effective leaders, as you said, are the ones who, wait a minute, I've got to, really take care of my folks here, talk with them, help them work through this, help them work through, encourage them when their confidence is dipping and that sort of thing, right?
Right, absolutely. And to use your marathon analogy, some people might not have even signed up for the marathon, but they have to participate
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah, finding out where, kind of where they're at helps the leader encourage them and invite them and enroll them into the change.
Yeah. And we talked about communication and keeping those lines of communication open. And I really think also for those leaders, it's really helping folks to understand the why behind it, behind the change, and what it will look like, in addition to helping them move along and deal with the psychological and emotional aspect of things.
Yeah, that's so true, Judy. And when we know the why for the change, then we can align our own personal values and goals and purposefulness with that why. We
Mhm.
don't know why, it just feels like change for the sake of change.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And that why, just to bring home the communication piece a bit further, is I really see the success of change. And when I've read about things in relation to changes, making sure it's communicated in multiple ways. The worst thing is getting, an email that indicates this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
The best thing is multiple ways, conversations, different modalities, and being willing to stop and just talk and help folks through it.
Absolutely. And in that communication, sometimes I think it helps to acknowledge the fact that this is going to impact people. It might impact you in this way, and we know that. And a lot of times that isn't communicated, and then people feel unseen.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I think with leader as coach, some of the aspects of the skills that we have that we teach through that program can really come through during times of change when the sky is falling. And I know one of the things that we talked about doing for our audience today is to do a little bit of role play for them. And I know that you have a topic in particular that is near and dear to you regarding change. So I wondered if we could go ahead and move to that.
You bet, you bet. So for those of you who are here watching, we're going to do two different conversations, and Judy is going to approach them two different ways. And the first one might be a typical way that we might approach if we're mentoring or trying to guide, and the second will be a little bit different.
Yeah. And I would add to it that when Stephanie and I were prepping for this is actually a change that Stephanie is going through right now. In the situation that we're going to role play is that I'll play the role of Stephanie's manager, so to speak, here, but I'm not actually her manager. So we just wanted to let you know that. But it is something that Stephanie is experiencing now, right, Stephanie?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What else do you think we need to tell our audience today?
Yes. See what you notice about the differences between the two conversations, because Judy is going to use a different approach, perhaps different skills, and afterward, we can mention how they reflect what we teach people in our Leader as Coach program, because that's where we learn one place you can learn how to do this.
Sure. Excellent. Okay, Stephanie, let's go ahead.
All right.
Let's role play.
Okay. Hi, Judy. I need your help.
What's going on, Stephanie?
Well, I know you know this, but for the audience, I'll just say that recently, one of the companies that I do contract work for asked me to take on some additional responsibility that involves developing and training people. And the people are my peers. So they don't report to me. It's not a formal structure of reporting or anything. So I'm finding some uncomfortable things are happening for me.
Yeah, can you, uncomfortable things. Well, first of all, I want to take a step back for a moment. And I just want to think, like, I want you to know that I've been through something very similar to that. And so I think I might be able to really help you out with this. So could you tell me more? I need more detail to understand, like, what's going on.
Well, they want me, and I'm loving it, by the way. It's a little scary, but they're asking me to do things like bring new people on, train them up, evaluate performance, and also to be bringing best practices to my existing peer group that I work with, and sometimes have conversations about feedback they receive. And so it's making me really uncomfortable, because these are my peers and there's a certain relationship there, and now it feels strange.
Sure. Yeah. I remember, as I mentioned, that the same thing happened to me where I was going through doing some work, and it was very specific with my peers. And what I can advise you about there is, just to really just work with them on it and let them know what your role is, and that it is something that you've been put into that role, and it's really important that they just support you in it and accept this.
Yeah. I've tried that a couple of times, and with varying degrees of success. Like how did you do that? Like, what was the best way to say those things?
I mean, we were talking earlier about in times of change, they were just, really communicating that multiple times and in multiple ways. I mean, in meetings and, in follow-up emails and even asking at times for the leaders of the organization that I was doing this for, to really help me to get that point across. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've tried a couple of those things and I know sometimes I worry a little bit that the trust between me and my peers is eroded, maybe even especially when the leaders of the organization are sort of backing me up. I don't know how to explain it, but
Oh, sure, sure. I've
yeah.
got you. Yeah, I've got you. Well, Stephanie, trust is built over time.
Hmm.
And it just really takes time for folks to adjust to something like this.
Yeah.
And I know that, again, in my situation, I really just tried to give people time and really reiterate to them and try to build some wins with them as
Mhm.
well. So let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes
Okay.
and keep me posted on that, because I
Okay.
certainly am here to support you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna cut.
Mhm.
And Allison, if you wouldn't mind running a poll. So we have a poll for all of you to take a few moments. And as you saw that role play, we really want to know, how effective was me, in helping Stephanie. And so if you would go ahead and submit your ratings.
The poll is live now. The question is, on a scale from 1 to 5, how effective was Judy in helping Stephanie? 1, extremely ineffective. 2, slightly ineffective. 3, neither effective nor ineffective. 4, slightly effective. Or 5, extremely effective. We're going to keep the poll open for just another 5 seconds. So please submit your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. And it looks like 1 person saw it as extremely ineffective, 2 as slightly ineffective, and 2 as slightly effective.
Yeah. Thank you, folks, for that. And so just wondering if maybe we can ask folks to put into chat, what were some of the things that made you decide on the particular rating that you provided? We'd love to hear a word or a phrase.
Give it a minute.
Oh, I see one where someone was talking about that I kept, it seemed to be more about me than about Stephanie.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So a lot more self-referential.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I see one here. You asked her to follow up with you and let you know how it went.
yeah,
I'm guessing that may be an effective part.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I seem to be getting frustrated. I already tried that. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Was that true, Stephanie? A little
I,
bit?
I was I frustrated? Maybe not as far in the vicinity of that emotion as frustrated, but a little bit like wanting something more.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good,
definitely.
good observation.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And someone said was missing questions. Yeah, absolutely. Like I already knew it all because I had that experience, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A
And
few questions at the beginning about the details of the situation.
sure,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
sure,
And
sure.
less after that.
And so Stephanie, big question is how likely will you to come back to me as your manager with this?
I would say I wouldn't be highly likely, uh, But if something that you suggested worked and I try it, then I might come back and ask you for more advice.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
kind of would depend on that.
Yeah,
But
and then one of our participants said self-reflection. Empathy is good. It's good to connect on problems that others may experience too. Absolutely.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, it felt good for me to know that you could empathize.
Somebody else went through what I'm going through.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you for that. Well, let's go ahead and try a different technique, and
Okay.
certainly some things that, some
Mhm.
skills that we use in leader that you'll learn in Leader as Coach as well. So why don't we go ahead and sort of take two?
Okay, take two.
Okay.
Hi, Judy.
Hey, Stephanie, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I do have a situation where I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable with some change that
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to talk to you about.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going on?
Well, I recently took on a role with one of the organizations that I do contract work for, that you know, um, uh, where I'm taking on a role of developing people, um, without them reporting to me. So,
Sure.
well, they're my peers for the most part, and
Mhm.
I'm finding that to be a tricky situation.
Yeah. So just to reflect back on you, I'm hearing that you say is that, now you're in a situation where you're now developing people who are your peers. So it reminds me a little bit like sort of you're in a more of a leadership role there.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah. And
Yeah.
so what's the impact on that
Yeah.
situation for
A
you?
couple things. One is
Yeah.
I'm in a leadership role without authority,
Yeah.
which is a little odd. And then it's also I have these established relationships with these peers, and I feel as though it's shifting the dynamic in there to where maybe it's impacting trust.
Mm. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And so I'm sensing that, clearly trust is really important to you, especially these are folks that sounds like maybe you've worked with for a while.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, for the
yeah,
most part. Some are
yeah,
newer, but some that
yeah.
I've worked with for a while, and I really love those relationships as they are. But
Sure.
now that I'm in this position, sometimes I have to um, uh, talk about feedback, uh, things that I wasn't doing before.
Yeah. And what's the impact of that?
Um, I worry a bit about the
Mhm.
relationship suffering.
Mm,
Um, there have been a couple moments where I was a little concerned that a couple people like didn't want to have those conversations and would try
mm,
to, you know, uh, and then the other is that I'm a little concerned that people might think that I am sharing information. And
mm,
sometimes I actually do have to share some information
mm.
with the leaders of the organization. So
Sure.
I'm in the middle, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah,
Because then
yeah.
the impact is like it shifts everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And so if you had a way of describing that, like what's that like?
Hmm.
Like a metaphor or
Uh,
something. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost like I'm in one of those. This is what just came up from that question. In one of those fun houses, the house of
Yeah.
mirrors, where
Yeah.
the floor is shifting and images are changing, and I'm trying to find my footing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's there's lack of stability.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And where am I going? Where am I headed?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
And
And
there's a little bit too of like, I think some of these people aren't going to like me anymore. I mean, that's kind of like
mm,
the little part of me that cares
mm,
about that.
yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
so you said that little part of you that cares
Mhm.
about that. Would you speak to that a bit more?
Yeah, my relationships are important. Uh,
Mm,
and at the same time, uh, when I'm in a leadership role, probably that's my biggest soft spot is
Mm,
a little people pleaser, a little fear of
mhm.
people, rubbing people the wrong way or something.
Sure, sure, understand that. So there's a little bit of fear there. Yeah, yeah. How would you like to be? Like if you can imagine this role,
Mhm.
not in the fun house where the
Yeah,
mirrors are.
yeah.
How can you what that would that be like?
Hmm. The first thing that came to me, um, what I feel like I'm on solid footing, and
Mm,
that I would really that it would actually strengthen my relationship with my peers, and
mm,
that I would find a way to have everybody feel safe and heard,
mm,
and be able to invite them in to whatever it is. I mean, it's a pretty rapid changing environment, as you know.
mm,
That
mhm.
be able to like invite people along and foster trust between myself and them, and also with the leaders of the organization.
Yeah, and I heard you say, and I want to acknowledge
Mm.
about it being safe. You
Yeah.
to be safe for them. And I want to acknowledge how that is such a connection, that psychological safety to
Mhm.
trust and
Yeah.
building trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know where you want to go. So
Mhm.
what's a different way of looking at this and trying to navigate in that direction?
Mm.
Curious if you could lean into that.
Yeah. Um, the first thing that comes up is I have so many years of skills in building trusting relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I also know I can trust my ability to communicate both directions with people in a respectful way. I
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think um I think I'm pretty good at holding the integrity of that. So
Yeah.
I think part of it is just reminding myself that I have the skills.
Okay. And so what can you do to remind yourself of that during this time of change?
Two things came up. One of them might be I can remember one of my peers saying something during a meeting when this was announced. Maybe just write their name down and write down what I remember they said and have it near me.
Mm.
Uh, and
So it was something that was really uplifting to you, what
yeah,
they said.
yeah,
Got it.
that
Yeah.
kind of echoed what I was just saying, but I know I'm a good person
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
And the other might be a good idea to just reach out. There's not that many people in this group. Maybe just reach out during this holiday time and say hi, and really appreciating how you've interacted with me during this time. Is there anything you need from me that's different, or maybe just a little something, or maybe as the year starts?
Okay. So two things. One is I'm hearing about the what one person said, and writing that is sounds like it would be inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you do with that? Where would you put those written words?
Oh, probably stick them up somewhere here, on my
Little
monitor or
sticky.
something. Yeah.
Sure,
I gotta
sure,
find
sure.
something else that sticks to my monitor though. Those Post-its don't stick to it, but I find something.
Sure, sure. And then the other thing that I heard you say is that reaching out, what
Mhm.
would that look like?
Mm.
Or what will it look like?
Yeah, it will be just some sort of a light-hearted hello. I'm here, and just with a yeah. I don't quite have it yet, but I know the tone I would want, which is peer to peer. You know,
Mhm.
just sort of a yeah. Hey, let's chat soon about how it's going for you, just as buddies and peers, something
Got
like that.
it.
I don't know.
Got
My
it.
brain's a little fuzzy on it, but I've got an idea
But you
brewing.
have an idea. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So, think in doing those two things,
Mhm.
how do you see that
Mhm.
helping with this whole situation?
Mhm. Well, I think the one helps me keep my mindset straight, so I don't doubt myself so
Mm,
much. The
mm,
first one. The second one, it's just a proactive relationship building thing that's just simply person to person, not, not we need to have a meeting about this, or how did that thing go that you just did, really just a heart to heart, person to person.
So really connecting via person to person.
Yeah.
Got it.
To build the
And
trust.
got it. To build the trust. Yeah. Yeah. So when do you anticipate doing both of these things?
Well, the one I can do as soon as this is over. As soon as this session is over, I'll find something to stick to something. And the other one, I'll give some thought tomorrow. I have some time about the message I want to send out and how I might do it.
Gotcha. Got you. And so with those two actions, Stephanie, and when you're looking more a little bit farther down the road, what do you anticipate in terms of that fun house feeling versus more stability?
I anticipate that it will lessen that I'll feel more on solid footing, and I'll be able to come back to, like, these two ideas can be repurposed, I think, to just kind of, if I do start to think those thoughts or feel those feelings, I can just kind of come back to these.
And Stephanie, how do you want to hold yourself accountable for taking on those two actions?
I think that I will, I think I'll follow through. I generally don't need much accountability. I'm having a meeting with one of those peers tomorrow who's a really good friend. So I might have her hold me accountable on the second one.
That sounds awesome, Stephanie. Thank you. And thank you so much. I appreciate you coming to me with this problem and hope, me helping you. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy. It was very helpful.
Good. Okay. And if we want to stop there and again, Allison, if you could please add, put the poll out about how effective this interaction was.
Yes, the poll is now open. This poll asks the same question, but for this scenario, on a scale of 1 to 5, how effective was Judy at helping Stephanie? And the choices are the same: 1, extremely ineffective; 2, slightly ineffective; 3, neither effective nor ineffective; 4, slightly effective; and 5, extremely effective. And I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and poll and share results. This time the results are incredibly different. We have 1 who said that it was slightly effective and 5 who said extremely effective.
Nice.
Well, thank you. All right. And we've got a great, wow, what a message in chat. It's just taking me a minute to read through it. Okay, like a good therapy session. Well, there is a difference between coaching and therapy. We'll talk, but she was heard. Yeah. Worries, emotions, values. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right. You let her do it herself and just reassure her. Yeah. She leaves the meeting with clear goals and a plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Yes, I can speak from my own experience here. I definitely felt heard. And while this was not a long conversation, it felt like there was a lot of space for me to explore what I was feeling and also some of the stories I was telling myself.
Yeah.
Great. We'd love to hear from anyone else in the chat who would like to share your thoughts on what had you choose your response on this round. Something you observed. We're typing if anybody's typing. Yes, great point. I was empowered the whole time. And Judy helped me identify the most effective actions, timeline, etc. Yeah, I think empowerment is a key word. I felt like you were handing me, Judy, my power so I could stand in it versus standing in the fun house.
Yeah, and I love the metaphor that you came up with, because it really, that does describe a lot of what change can feel like.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, we have one more.
great. Yes. We loved your presence, Judy, by asking questions, offering reflections, and providing pauses for me, Stephanie, to think, reflect, and all things to sink in. Yes, that's part of that nice spacious pace that I was talking about, where I got a chance to look inward as opposed to outward at the problem and how to solve it. I felt like your focus through those things was on me so I could look inside.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that describes the difference between the two role plays. The first role play was really focused on the topic of change, and and then the second was more of your relationship with the topic. And that's where we were able to get at a richer action, for you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in our Leader as Coach program, this is the kind of conversation that we focus on, is how to help the leader have the conversation that helps the employee have the reflection of the internal looking, explore the relationship to the problem rather than just focusing on the problem. And there are times when that's really going to be an important conversation.
Right. There are, the number 13 sticks in my head, but Stephanie, please correct me if I'm wrong. But when we look at the different skills that are taught through the Leader as Coach program, they're around 13 that range in listening, as some of you have seen here, and even the use of the metaphor to really help Stephanie get to the point and come up with a solution was really helpful, and several others as well. Open-ended questions, as you had identified.
Open-ended questions, a little bit of visioning, like what would I like it to look like? How would I like to be? Yes, so there's 12 or 13 of those skills that we cover, and I don't have them in front of me. I probably should have, but you used almost all of them, all the way to the end of asking what kind of accountability I might want to keep me on track with my plan.
Yeah. So we hope that this has provided you with a good sampling of what Leader as Coach. Of course, this is sort of fast forward. We get to break the skills down and give you time to really practice and acquire them. And so I think it would be a great time for us to turn things back over to Allison.
Thank you both so much. This was an incredible opportunity to observe and learn some really key skills. I think something that we talked about before we started this webinar is that the word coach can often not mean that much to those of us who are outside of the coaching context, and I put myself in that category. But then seeing it in action is so solidifying into seeing how different the leadership approach is, what better outcomes you can get from it, and how it doesn't actually take more time than being directive while still leading to a better outcome. And so thank you for that really powerful demonstration that I think everyone probably got a lot out of. And I am also an alum of Leader as Coach, so I have had the firsthand experience of just how truly magical the classroom is that you create with these live demonstrations and the ability to practice. So if you are like me and you are leaving this inspired and feeling like you'd like to learn more of these skills, we would love for you to join us for our next Leader as Coach program. And so I'm going to share a little bit about the program and also to remind you that if you have a question at any point about the skill set, about leading through change, leading when the sky is falling, or about the program, please don't hesitate to submit it through the Q&A button in the bottom bar of Zoom. So first, I'd like to start with why is coaching so important? It was a new term and leadership style for me, and it may be for you as well. So the first reason is because we are experiencing unprecedented levels of leadership challenges. As I mentioned at the beginning, 70% of US workers are not engaged at work, and that number has been steadily climbing since COVID. And in addition, we have an increased demand for results, information overload, the need to be on and present at all times in more generations in the workplace than we've ever had before, and just the sense of burnout and anxiety. But good news, being a coach-like leader can make a huge impact on a lot of those challenges on two different levels. First, there's the benefit to you at the individual level. Being a more coach-like leader allows you to better balance results and relationships. It gives you the ability to have stronger emotional intelligence, which allows you to make better choices because you've been able to hear everyone's input in a better way. It gives you a broader perspective and increases your critical thinking and creativity and innovation. In addition, there are measurable and dramatic results for the teams and organizations. Teams and organizations see that they have a more engaged workforce. They have a higher level of employee retention, which matters more than ever now during this time of the Great Resignation. And we see that we're better able to lead change, which was the focus of today's webinar. My favorite stat on this slide is that PwC found that the mean ROI of executive coaching was 7 times the initial investment, which that is huge. And there aren't many other skills that meet that level of impact. So if you're excited and you would like to learn these coaching skills, we would love to have you in our Leaders Coach program. We offer the program in 2 different modalities. So depending on your learning style and your preference and availability, there are 2 different ways that you can learn with us. You can either choose to join us in our online session, which starts on March 5th. That one runs for 7 weeks, and you're meeting 1 time per week and doing some homework and some exercises in between. Or you can join us in person at our Providence campus, and that is taught as an intensive. So over 3 full days, you learn the same amount of content as you learned in the online. So up to you, depending on your availability. And that session starts in April. So depending on your availability and your learning style. In both cases, you're going to learn all of these topics. The first module is on coaching foundations, which looks at why coach-like leadership matters so much, how to create safety and trust, the difference between coaching and mentoring, and how to build a coaching mindset. In module 2, you'll learn the levels of listening and how to ask powerful questions like the ones you saw Judy employ in scenario 2. In the third module, you learn coaching skills, all 13 of them, including the arc and structure of a coach-like conversation and how to go from awareness to choice to transformation. In the fourth module, you learn how to coach with values, purpose, and resilience. So how do you have that moment of intentionality of thinking about what your true values are in the workplace and making sure you're staying connected to those instead of just having to react to things as they come. In module 5, which is my favorite module, you learn the reactive to creative process, which is looking at how so often in our modern workforce where things are coming at us so quickly, we put ourselves into, or rather, I don't think we put ourselves into this. I think we are put into this system of feeling like we are in constant fight or flight mode because we're at the edge of our capacity. And reactive to creative gives us the awareness and the space to think about how to lead and to be in harmony with one another in a little bit of a different way by balancing achieving results with creating authentic relationships and reframing so that we have the space to be more creative, more impactful, and less reactionary as each thing comes at us. And then in the last module, you'll learn how to sustain, apply, and integrate everything you've learned into your day-to-day life. And what I think is so special about the Leaders Coach program in both modalities is how interactive and how practice-based it is. And so throughout the 7 weeks or 3 days, you really are building strong muscle memory and able to come back to this program, to these skills over and over again. And as an alum who took this course, I have felt like I've been able to come back to these skills on a consistent basis in a way that I haven't always felt in other programs, because I was put into practice so often. So I think that's a real special part of this program. This shows you a little bit more detail, and we'll send the slides afterwards. So no need to memorize this, but of what the program will look like depending on if you choose online versus in person. If you choose to join us online, the program is every Tuesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it lasts for 2 hours for 7 weeks. And you'll have some homework in between where you'll do some readings, watch some videos, do some self-reflection exercises, and meet in assigned small groups to practice what you've learned. If you choose to join us in person, it is 3 very full days from 8:30 to 4. And in that case, you're not really having any homework in between. You might have some very light, but it's mostly just in the classroom, being together, having this intensive experience and a lot of practice. In either case, the program outcomes are the same. By the end of the program, we commit that you will have developed multidimensional leadership skills. You'll be able to reframe limiting mindsets to ones connected to your values and purpose. You'll be able to apply coaching skills to different work contexts. You'll build your capacity to engage in more meaningful interactions. You'll be able to create real, authentic relationships focused on performance effectiveness. You'll be able to empower your team, motivate them, and guide them to reach their full potential while achieving results in your organization. And you'll be able to navigate through uncertainty, complexity, and change, as you saw today, with more ease and clarity. And I know for me, one of the biggest takeaways was making sure that I was keeping both accountability, but also empowerment where it ought to be, because I think a lot of people on this call, you chose to come here, you chose to come to a webinar to learn a skill at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I think it's safe to say many of us might identify as a little bit type A and a little bit of overachievers. And I think for a lot of us who fall into that category, we're used to being the ones to fix problems and to get things done by doing them. And this program was really transformational for me in learning how to make sure I'm giving space to others, because as long as I'm continuing to dictate the action, we're limited to the actions that I can come up with on my own, versus if you're using a more coach-like leadership approach, you have access to everybody's thoughts and ideas, which is just going to be way more thoughts and ideas than you could possibly have on your own. And it allows your team to build the confidence and the competence that they need to be able to start owning projects on their own. And I have seen a difference. I've seen my direct reports get much more confident and start to own processes and programs that they didn't have that ownership over before, because they know I trust them and because they know that I will still help them think through and be a thought partner to them as they come up with anything sticky. And I think my favorite personal testimonials, my direct report took this program about a year after I did. And he said, wow, I really recognized a lot of the skills that I learned, because a lot of them are what you use with me when I run into a problem. So that was my personal favorite testimonial to receive on how this program really works and really makes a difference. So that's all we have for you today. And we'd love to answer any questions you have on the skills you saw today, how to lead through change, or the program. So anything you saw today. And you can submit your questions by clicking on the bottom bar of Zoom, the Q&A button, and submitting your questions there, and we'll answer them through the Q&A.
Allison, what you said regarding, it being transformational and sort of being that person who has to have all the answers, that really resonated with me. I remember before becoming a coach-like leader, I really felt that there was a lot of pressure when someone wanted to meet with me. I felt the pressure like, oh my gosh, how am I going to solve this? And just the confidence level, all these things, it just, when you said it, it really brought me back to then. And I think that learning these skills just can be so transformational. And what a great thing that your colleague said to you about that. Mm.
Yes. Well, and as you were saying that, Judy, I was thinking of the term I hear a lot from leaders, which is, I have no time for anything because I'm just putting out fires.
Mm.
And it reminded me that actually through supporting others and empowering them, they can go either not light the fires or they can learn how to put them out themselves. And that frees up so much energy.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, the campaign is you can prevent forest fires, not that you can put them out, right?
Yeah,
Right.
there you go. We do have a question in chat, Allison, I noticed, and someone wanted to know about any scholarships available for the program.
Thank you. Thanks for directing my attention to that. We do offer scholarships on a case-by-case basis. So if you give me just one moment, I will drop a link in the chat. I'm looking at my other monitor over here. I'm not staring off into the distance, but I'll bring up a link to the registration page for this program. And on that registration page, there is a link as well to fill out if you are looking for financial assistance. In addition, another resource that we have on this page is a link to a template that is a letter asking your employer for support as well, because a lot of employers do offer educational assistance benefits, and some people are not aware of that. So I'd encourage you to also check to see what, if any, educational assistance your employer might provide. And we tried to make it as easy as possible for you to request that assistance by utilizing the template that's on there to explain what the program's about and what value you would bring back to your organization as a result of taking it. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that first, because we unfortunately have pretty limited scholarship availability, but we try to meet all needs. And so I would check with your employer first, and then if there is no, or if there's not enough support there, then do come back and fill out the application for support from us. And we do review it on a case-by-case basis, and we'll respond to you pretty quickly.
Great.
And the next question I see is, how do I help my team get comfortable with me being a more coach-like leader if in the past I've been very directive?
Yeah, I mean, I know one of the things is to be transparent, let them know this is a skill set I'm working on, just as it's important for you, for your professional development, it is for me as well. And I want, to do the things that we talked about. I want to empower you, so I think that that's really key for leaders to share that.
Yeah, I would underline that. And one of the very first things that we talk about and learn in Leader as Coach is a concept called co-creating the relationship. And that simply means having some agreements or some new agreements about how you're going to interact together so that it is out there and transparent.
And, all of us talk about wanting feedback, and there's all that information out there about, people like feedback. Well, people don't always like giving feedback. It can feel uncomfortable and all. And when Stephanie mentioned about co-creating the relationship, when you as a leader put yourself in that position where, hey, I'm learning this and I really need your help. This is what I'm trying, and let me know, I'm trying to ask, more, whatever the skill is. Let me know how I'm doing in our one-on-ones on that, or in team meetings and such.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's a great answer. Another question that I see here is, I think that the coach-like leader seems to be a great technique, but I am worried about the amount of time it will take. What advice do you have for me?
That's so interesting. That comes up a lot, especially when you're learning something new. Sometimes it does take a little bit more time, or feel like it does. I've always operated under the assumption that once you know what you're doing here, you'll have less frequent conversations with people, and it can move really fast. And then I notice in one of the books that we often point people toward for some of the neuroscience information behind this is called Quiet Leadership. And the gentleman that wrote this book, David Rock, collected a lot of data over time where the leaders that he taught to be more coach-like found they spent a lot less time in conversation. So it's sort of like a go slow to go fast kind of thing, but the payoff can be huge.
Thank you. I love that answer. I love the reminder that it might take longer at first because change is difficult, as we all kind of mentioned in the chat at the beginning, that it can take a little bit of time and feel a little uncomfortable at first. But then once it is something that becomes second nature to us, it can actually save us time and build a stronger, more included workforce as well.
Time and practice, right? So in the course itself, we offer a lot of opportunity for practice. And then outside is when, you know, the practice comes in too. And it's like anything else. If you're building a muscle, it just takes time, but it gets into shape. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
The next question is, are there any books you recommend we read in preparation for the course, or if we want to educate ourselves behind the scenes?
Well, I definitely think Quiet Leadership by David Rock for sure. Stephanie, I'm trying to come up with something off the top of my head and I can't, but I could definitely think of some things.
I'm thinking of reading that we recommend in our longer coaching certification program at ACT Leadership that can be helpful.
There's one proactive
coaching is one of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then the other one's a little dry, has a lot of information, but it goes more deeply into some of the thinking behind what we're doing when we're having a coach-like conversation. It's called, it's right here. Let me look. I was just working on it. Thank you. Mastering Leadership. It's getting late in the day. Mastering Leadership by Robert Anderson and William Adams.
Right.
Quite in depth about developmental psychology and how a coach-like approach helps somebody move up levels in development.
Thank you. I think that's one of the things that's so powerful about this program as well, is that both the Brown University faculty and also the faculty through ACT Leadership, which is our partner that delivers this program, is both sides are very dedicated to a research-based approach. And so every skill that you learn is going to be rooted in skills like developmental psychology, as you mentioned, Stephanie, like neuroscience. And so all of this is going to come to you in a way that has been very rigorously tested. And I think that is a little bit of a difference that you'll find in this program versus some of the other similar types of programs. So we are unfortunately at time, which I can't believe it. The time really flew by. And so I want to thank both of you, Judy and Stephanie, for an incredible session. I think it's always so much more powerful. Oh, okay, someone did just get in a question. You got in just under the wire. It's a good question and it's a short answer, so I'm happy to answer it. The question is, will I become a certified coach after this course? Is it an accredited program? Not in this course. So this course is a short program. It is meant to be snack size and fit into your busy schedule, and is meant for professionals who want to learn this as a skill set, but not necessarily people who are thinking about becoming coaches who go out in the world and, like have that be their livelihood. And so for this program, you will earn a certificate of completion from Brown University and ACT, and it will be in both a certificate form that you can print and also a digital badge that you can share on your LinkedIn profile or your website. If you are interested, however, in becoming a certified coach, if that's important to you and you want that credential and you're looking to actually become a coach, we do have another program that just wasn't the topic for today, so we didn't go over it today, but is our Leadership and Performing Coaching Certification Program. I'll grab a link from our website and put it in the chat in just one moment. And that program, you do leave with that certification from the International Coaching Federation. Is also a much longer program. This program is about an 8-month program, and we get incredible feedback on this one as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, we do have a path for that. It's just a different program. So with that, I will thank you, Judy and Stephanie, for joining us today. It was so powerful to hear about how to lead through crisis, lead when the sky is falling, and lead through change, and even more powerful to see and experience the difference between having a directive conversation and a coach-like conversation. I learn something every time that I get to be with both of you, and I'm so excited for the opportunity that everyone here had to learn from you today, and also hopefully to learn from you a little bit longer term if they choose to join our Leader as Coach program. And I also want to thank everyone who attended today. I know you have busy schedules and busy lives, and so thank you for taking some time out of it to join us today and to learn a new skill or sharpen an existing skill. Some of you may have already had some exposure to this already. And for your incredible participation. You asked great questions, you had great insights into the conversations, and I want to thank you for participating so fully today. So with that, I'll let everyone go and have a great rest of your night. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Allison.
Appreciate it.